Hey everybody, it's Mike Young, lifestyle nutritionist with aPlantBasedDiet.org. Welcome to chapter 118 on calorie restriction and eating less. And that's basically it. That's basically the entire chapter because I've done a lot of chapters in the past that dealt with more specific items of this. But I just wanted to kind of throw it out there because this is actually a very major important topic on longevity and wellness and living your best life and enjoying life is eating less. And I don't know if you can tell in this camera. I think you can tell. And if you haven't been able, I'm standing up because I don't sit. Sitting's a new smoking, and I don't weigh all that much. I weigh like less than 160 pounds. I'm between 6'1" and 6'2", depending upon whether you measure me in the beginning of the day or the end of the day, because people actually shrink during the day because things get compressed, right, as you stand up and walk and things. But anyway, this is a key component to longevity because, as we talked about, the body is a self-repairing machine, unlike your car, your dishwasher, which you need to take to a professional because they have to replace parts because you can't regenerate them or anything. And that's sometimes true, like I said, with trauma in humans. But that's the only thing. Outside of trauma, like blunt force trauma, like impacts, things like that. Really bad situations. We don't like to see that for anybody, but it does happen. And that's the medical system is great for that, but not for the other stuff, which is 80%. We talked about the 80-20 rule, which is the diseases of affluence. There's a chapter on that. And basically, you want to make sure that you are not eating to your full. If you're eating to your full, you might be satisfied in your stomach because, first of all, the first challenge is making sure the correct food's going in by not giving into your taste buds all the time. Like, it doesn't have to be the optimal thing all the time. You have to use your brain to determine that I want the health optimizing stuff, which is almost always a little bit different than the taste bud optimizing stuff. And then when it gets into your stomach, you need to, again, this is a thought thing. This is a mental thing. It's a psychological thing. You need to know and be okay with the fact that your stomach is not going to tell you it's totally full and you just need to cut it off. That's why intermittent fasting is great. We have a chapter on that as well. Because what happens is when your body is surprised in a way where it's like, oh, you usually used to give me all the stuff. Now you don't give it to me. What's going on? Then it starts to optimize internally. That's when it's going to operate most efficiently. It's kind of like when you are down to like a tenth of a gallon of gas in your tank, or if you're driving an electric car, you're down to like 20 miles of range. All of a sudden, you're going to optimize your driving. You are going to go very slow down the road as a high speed. You're not going to accelerate fast. You're going to make sure if you're driving an electric car that you only use the regen for the braking until you make it to that source where you can refuel. And that's exactly what your body does. And that's exactly why calorie restriction works in the way that it does. If you think about this, because, my whole book here is really, we're not harping on the scientific stuff because, as I talked about earlier in the book, so much of the science is already bought and paid for. And you know what? The human body has been around way longer than the scientific papers that are out there. And we've managed to exist as a species and thrive for the most part until recently. And now, there's so much corruption. There's so much focus on the non-existent dollar or fiat currency, money, whatever it is that you're talking about. It's not even real, but that's where the focus is on. And the human beings are real. So human body, we have so much available in this day and age in 2022 with great transportation systems. So even if you don't live near where you're getting your food from, you can get it sent to you through transportation systems in a very quick way. But people are less concerned about that and getting their organic produce to them at the right time than they are taking that next trip, and they'll plan more for that. It's just a matter of priorities, really, is what it is. And I'd say that, with all the stuff going on in the world today, I'm just glad that you guys are here and you're taking this seriously. Because as I mentioned before, in the last couple of chapters, we're getting near the end of the book, and only the diehard fans are here. Only the ones who really, really want to make as much of a difference as possible in their lives are still remaining with us. So after this chapter, do not go get a snack. Maybe even skip dinner or lunch, or actually, just so you know, too, although It's not, I don't think, relevant to lifespan necessarily, but better to eat more at the beginning of the day than the end of the day. So better to skip dinner because your body's going to rest during that time, and then you refuel in the morning. And of course, don't refuel with bacon and eggs. But just know that the calorie restriction, not only is it the healing mode, like I've talked about, but it is also the longevity mode. It's going to add years to your life. Your body's going to optimize because, think about this again with the cars. With a car, if you have a full tank of gas or a full battery, you can floor it, you can slam it to the corners, you can slam on the brakes, you can do whatever you want because you're not going to run out of gas. And that's where we are in society right now. People know they're not going to go hungry. So they just eat and eat and eat. And it's like a big party time. But if they thought they really might go hungry, they would have a much different way of operating. And like that car example, you will treat that car very gently. And what's that going to mean for the car? Well, not only are you going to make it to your next fueling or electric plug-in or next meal if you're a human, but because you're taking such good care and you're not abusing yourself, you're not pushing yourself to the limit because you're not sure where your next meal is going to come from, you're going to last that much longer. It's means so many less problems and so much more longevity. So hopefully you get that. If you get that, please let me know in the comments. Or if you have other examples, please also let me know in the comments. And of course, please subscribe to the channel so you get notified for the next chapter. You can hit the bell for notifications, and we will see you in the next chapter. Bye-bye.